Thank you for tuning in once again to Gods, Demons, and Magic. This is your host, Sri Satchidananda Das. So we're continuing to explore, again, the Egyptian mysteries by Iamblichus. And in this particular text, the Egyptian priest Abammon is answering the mystical questions of the Greek philosopher Porphyry. And Porphyry is asked for an in-depth description of the nature of the gods, as well as the other subtle beings such as daemons, half-gods, heroes, and even liberated souls, those souls that exist beyond the confines of matter. And previously he had said to Porphyry that the gods, the very understanding of them, the knowledge of them, is inherent within us because we exist within a very intimate relationship with them. He also discussed whether or not the gods have free will. So now Abammon is mentioning that the gods, they're very strange in nature, very unlike us. We exist sometimes in very distinct categories, but the gods, they sometimes live in composite natures with each other. They sort of join to form a greater deity. They sometimes exist in communion with another or together with another. He even says they sometimes exist within another god, or they exist in a way in which they're encompassed by another god. So this is very different than our experience of human reality. And this is very consistent with the Egyptian practice of many gods representing one thing. You might have 5, 10 different gods which represent the sun or represent agriculture, and oftentimes these gods are merged together, such as Amun-Ra, right? Or they're unified in various ways. So they're constantly coming together, merging together, and becoming a singular deity, or then merging apart, or representing various things or the same things. But there is one distinction among them, that some are leaders and some are followers, that some of them are in a very high position and some are in a lower position. Now, scholars will say that the reason Egypt was like this is because as one god became prominent, say for example Amun, then he took on very exalted cosmic aspects, and then the various local divinities of the various centers, the temples within ancient Egypt. Then as that one god became more and more prominent, there was a tendency for the local centers to identify their god with that now cosmic god, sort of to increase the importance of their particular center. So either way, the Egyptian concept of the gods was very flexible, in fact unusually flexible, very unique. It's almost like, there was no hard and fast rules in regards to the gods. And Abammon mentions that, they did exist within a hierarchy. There's some gods which are very high and exalted, and gods beneath them, and they oftentimes, they work together to organize creation. But there is some degree of freedom among them. Like they also choose sometimes not to work together. Sometimes they fight or become unfriendly with each other. So there does seem to be a certain level of free will among the gods. It may not be exactly in the way that we experience, the freedom to choose morality or immorality, but there is some sense in which they do. Now, Abammon mentions that there's a general hierarchy among these gods and subtle beings, but there's no distinguishable boundaries between these groups. They sort of merge into each other. And so the way I like to explain this is, it's just like the human races, right? You have all within the world so many different ethnic or genetic varieties as you move throughout, the geography of the world. But they all kind of merge into each other, It's not so much that there's distinct borders between racial groups, but rather, there's more of a spectrum, they gradually become each other. Say, for example, if you're moving across Europe into Asia, somewhere around in the middle of Russia, you'll find that, the Europeans have very Asian features, or you could say the Asians have very European features. And in this way, there's a kind of gradual change between the groups. But at the same time, you can still generally say that there are identifiable distinctions between Europeans and Asians. He says that there is a way in which the gods, similarly, can be classified into different groups or hierarchies. But at the same time, if you look closely, they sort of merge into each other at the boundaries. So that's a very interesting thing that Abammon is saying. Except there is one group of gods, sort of the higher gods, the controllers, the leaders, or the chief gods, who are in a different category. They exist above the rest of these subtle beings. And they're independent. And these other gods that sort of merge with each other or encompass each other or live in dependence or unity with each other, these greater gods, they don't. They're independent. They're kind of like their own beings, and they're in charge. And according to Abammon, important to understand the realm of the gods is to understand the absolute truth, that realm of brilliant transcendental happiness and perfection which exists beyond matter. And if you look back into the episode The Three Suns, we go into detail there from the Neoplatonic perspective that the realm of the gods is essentially illuminated by the absolute platform. And the Greeks called this the One or the Good. The Egyptians referred to it as the one transcendent god Amun, the hidden one who exists beyond matter. And then, the elements of creation are then ordered by the secondary creator Ptah. And similarly, the Hindus or those practitioners of the Vedic culture believed in the one transcendent personality, Vishnu, and then there's a secondary creator, Brahma. But the conclusion is from all of these various cultures, including Zoroastrianism, the idea is that beyond matter there's a one supreme transcendent realm, the realm of God, essentially, which is brilliant and full of happiness and knowledge. And so the realm of the gods is very much illuminated by that realm, and they're very much conducted by you might say by the energy emanating from that realm, and they really can't be separated from it. They're enlightened by it, and their actions are determined by their harmonious relationship with the Absolute. And as mentioned in the Three Suns, the demiurge or the sun god is literally illuminating the realm of the gods with consciousness and knowledge and power and purity and all these sort of divine qualities which ultimately come from the realm of transcendence, just as the sun illuminates our world with life and with light. So to really understand the realm of the gods, one has to have a taste or have an experience of the absolute platform, that platform beyond matter, which is experienced, of course, through meditation, through mantra, it could just simply be through the mercy or blessings of God. And if you have that sort of taste of divinity or spiritual truth, then that gives you a glimpse of the realm of the gods, because they're sort of existing within that light. It's permeating their realm and permeating their consciousness. Abammon mentions that similarly there's a classification of souls, unconditioned souls or liberated souls, which also exist beyond matter. And they're just like us, they're souls, but they've actually either achieved liberation from material existence or they've never come into the world. And so they're there existing in perfection in the spiritual realm. You might say the kingdom of heaven, or in the realm of Brahman, or in the realm of the One or the Good. And for them, they're completely uncontaminated by matter. And they're always existing and bathed in the light of transcendence and perfection in the highest form. And whereas the gods are sort of illuminated by the realm of perfection, which is above them, and sort of shining into the realm and through them into the world, these unconditioned souls, or these liberated souls, these perfect souls, they exist eternally in that realm of perfection. They're like swimming within the light that then shines into the world and bathes and illuminates the realm of the gods. And so a very important goal within, the religions of the world is to move upward from a conditioned state into that perfect liberated state. Abammon then mentions the realm of the daemons, which, again, they're illuminated by the power of the gods. It's sort of like they exist as intermediary between the realm of conditioned humans and the realm of the gods, and they bring that light of the gods down into the human realm. And they also, as servants of the gods, they take the power of the gods and sort of manifest it into the reality that we experience. They are like gods in many ways, but not nearly on the same level. And in many ways, they're sort of assigned by the gods to work into our own personal lives, very much like guardian angels. In fact, as we mentioned before in previous episodes, one is even considered to have their personal daemon. And in the various religions of ancient Egypt, this personal daemon was a very important figure, and he's understood through astrology or through theurgy, magical rituals. One could even summon their personal daemon. And so there are many ways they're like the servants of the gods who sort of go out into the universe and accomplish their particular goals. And a major goal of the daemons is to take the souls bound within the bodies of humans and try to somehow or other guide them upward towards transcendence ultimately. And then there are other daemons who are not quite as luminous or illuminated. Rather, there are daemons who exist out of harmony with the will of the gods. And though not evil, they represent the various temptations that the human being may experience. In other words, for the ancient Egyptian, all aspects of reality were saturated with supernatural causes and influences, and they were all under the control of various levels of supernatural beings. So even those qualities which tempt us away from the spiritual path, such as lust and greed, just the physical desires, gross desires to enjoy and physical matter, all of these are also under the rule of the daemons. But these particular daemons are of a lower character, and therefore one is constantly, in a sense, battling whether one will come under the influence of the higher daemons and be guided towards a life in harmony with the gods and ultimately reaching towards transcendence, or whether one will be attracted to the potencies and influence of the lower daemons within matter, which draw us towards lower qualities such as lust, anger, and greed, which drive us down into lower states of bondage. And of course, in later manifestations of religion, these lower daemons were considered to be just demons or personifications of evil in a kind of cosmic war. And then beneath the realm of daemons, you also have the heroes or half-gods, individuals like Heracles or Perseus, who are considered to be mixed. They're part human and part god. And they're very much closely connected, therefore, to human society. And in many ancient cultures, they would trace their lineage, their genetic and cultural lineage to these half-gods, right? You can see that the ancient Greeks, of course, everyone could find their ancestors in the Iliad, fighting at Troy. And the Romans, of course, later they identified their ancestors as refugees from Troy. So there's this tendency within human society to sort of find your divine heritage or origin in these half-gods. In many ways, they lends a sense of dignity and self-respect and responsibility to adhere to moral codes, etc., to that particular society. For example, the ancient Greeks who saw their ancestors as having fought on the battlefield of Troy, they were very much inspired and felt obliged to manifest those same qualities of heroism, self-sacrifice, and ultimately courage and competition. And so this kind of sense of divine historical connection to this realm of the gods, it really oftentimes came into human society in the form of the human, the half-human, the hero. And these half-gods really represented a manifestation of the realm of the gods directly into the realm of mankind, sort of creating a pious foundation to human life and to human cultures. And it's a direct influence, possibly right into your genetics, of the gods themselves. And according to Abammon, this blood of the gods, it really invested within human society certain gifts and qualities. And this is very interesting. I mean, the concept is there that it's almost like in a racial way, human beings have been endowed with the qualities of the gods. It's like the gods have mixed with humans and therefore invested us, who are of a lower character and lower nature, with a higher nature. Infused within our conditioned existence, occasionally the gods come down and sort of bless us with their higher nature and mix with us and uplift the human race. Thank you very much for listening. If you found value in this, please like and subscribe. If you're listening on iTunes, please visit srisachinandana.com/iTunes and leave a positive review. Please check out my newest podcast, Light of the Vedas, when we focus on unraveling the mystical literatures of ancient India. Thank you again, and we hope you'll join us next time on Gods, Demons, and Magic.